Alrighty, Uncle Roddus here again, another video, bunch of new records. As you can see behind me, we've got a bit of a new setup here. Really excited to finally have my new shelving rack system for the hi-fi. It's been quite a long wait for that. Kind of friend made it for me, something that I designed up myself, and he's a joiner, and we talked a bit about it after I bought my new system because I was running out of room where everything was going to be going. And you might have noticed in my earlier videos that it was getting a bit crowded and I didn't have a lot of shelf space. So this is actually a bamboo rack system that I designed and he built. So you can see there's some record storage down the bottom, and headphone amps, amplifier, turntable at the top, CD player. I like the height, it's a nice height for me to put records on now. It's got quite a lot of height here just for the heat dissipation from the amp, seeing as I decided to put the amp under the bottom on the second layer instead of up on the top, mainly because of the laptop, which is my digital music player. So really happy to have that, and fortunately my partner was impressed enough with it, liked the look of it as well, so yeah, really cool. So that's freed up a bit of space around this area and given me a bit more storage for records and stuff like that, so wrapped to do that. So I got a pile of new records here, and I wasn't expecting to have so many to show, to be honest. So first what happened was that there was that Fish Rider Records, which is a Dunedin label that's mainly does vinyl, indie rock, indie pop, flying nun influenced bands. Yeah, fairly new bands. I've got quite a few of their records, and I've shown a few of them. They have a little deal on Bandcamp if anyone's interested, and you can get 3 vinyl LPs for 60 New Zealand dollars plus postage. So that basically, and for me I think it was about $9 postage to get them sent from Dunedin to here. So that's basically 23 bucks an album for brand new records. So that's actually a really good price, because you know most of the stuff that we get imported into New Zealand we're paying 40 odd bucks for new records plus. So I'll show those first. First one, which I hadn't got around to buying, is called Trick Mammoth, and the album's called Floristry. This is, when was this album? This has been out a wee while. I'd actually heard one of the tracks was on the temporary compilation, which I showed many videos back. So I was familiar with this. I'd also actually, when I bought that album or some other of our Fish Rider albums, they gave me a download code for this, and I'd had a listen to it. Still kind of getting my feel for it. Yeah, so I need a few more listens, but it sounds pretty cool. And the other 2 albums were these 2 here. The first one is a band called the Prophet Hens. Now this was an album that they'd released quite some time ago. Actually, I think this is one of their earlier releases. There's no dates on the back of these. Yeah. So yeah, this is called, what is this called? Popular People Do Popular People. Yeah, again, I'm not that familiar with this. I've listened to it once or twice. This is very, very Flying Nun influenced from my memory of what I heard of it. So I need to absorb that some more. And then this one, I hope I've got these the right way around, is the newest release from, or maybe not the newest release, but the newest Prophet Hens album, The Wonderful Shapes of Backdoor Keys. And again, I don't see any dates on it on the back of it. So yeah, I'm pretty sure from memory this was quite a new one. This is their latest release out. So I can't say too much about the music. I've only actually listened to it a couple of times. There was another New Zealand album. It was a compilation record that I had seen in the shop a few times, but didn't really know what it was. And then after in my last video, I talked about the Bill Dyrene and the Builders record that I picked up, some records of his at a concert a couple of weeks back. And I'd been doing a bit of research on the internet about Bill's discography and the Builders' discography and some of the records they've released. And there was a record label in Christchurch called, back in the 80s, called Onset, Offset. And they had put out some Bill Dyrene stuff and some compilations and bits and pieces. Anyway, it turned out that this compilation that was in the shop was a double LP, and it was from this Unwunked Records, which is a German German company that have been specialising in putting, and not just New Zealand, but in Christchurch, but certainly have been putting out a lot of Christchurch, very obscure and rare Christchurch music, and I'm not sure why. And they'd done some Builders EPs, and I know Chris Walker had shown some and played some on his radio show, and they'd done a couple of these compilations. They'd done I think they'd revamped a compilation that has been released in Christchurch many years ago, maybe only on cassette, and they'd added to that, which is one I'd like to track down. But this one, and I can't even remember the name of it now, but what happened was I got this compilation. It was all mostly female bands from around the late 80s, early 90s. They were recorded here in Christchurch at Night Shift Studios, and I know Night Shift Studios was a pretty good quality studio and put out a lot of interestingly cool and good recorded music. Unfortunately, this particular album, it sounded absolute rubbish. The first thing I noticed that I struggled to connect with the music. It didn't have a lot of dynamic. It was very flat. It was very difficult to hear any separation in the instruments and the music. And to top it all off, there was a really horrible, distorted sort of buzzing-y, static-y sort of noise coming out of my one of my speakers, so one channel. And I played it a couple of times, and yeah, it's really one of the worst pressings I'd ever heard. So basically, I took it back to them and I said, "No, this is not acceptable." I'm thinking it's either a really bad pressing, and they had another copy, but they were pretty suspect of that as well. So yeah, they said they'd sold a few, but no one had actually brought any back. But frankly, yeah, it's a bit of a shame because it's not really doing the bands on the compilation any favours, because I know Chris had said that he'd found the music fairly difficult, and I don't know whether that's partly because of the sound quality, because yeah, if you can't connect with it, if this sounds so bad, it's really hard to connect with the music. And I get the feeling that the music was okay if it was, if you could listen to it. But anyway, to stop waffling about that, what I ended up doing was they said, "Oh look, just we'll take it back." So they took it back, and I said, "Oh look, I'll just pick up something else of the same value." And so it turned out that they had done a bit of a sale reduction on a lot of stuff that they had sitting around second hand that had been sitting in their bins for quite some time, and they'd whacked a bit of a mark off, taken a bit of a mark off down on a lot of these records. So they were selling them for $10 each. A lot of them were down from 30 or $20, so they were half to a third of the price. And there's some compilations that I saw. So I looked through the bins. There's some compilations that I saw, and one in particular that I've been thinking about for quite a while, and it was on my Discogs want list because I've seen it on a blog, and I like to buy obscure compilations of obscure music of a type that I'm interested in. And so I saw it in there, and I'd been thinking about it, and I was pretty sure they had $30 on it, and I'd sort of hummed and hawed about it, and there was always lots of other stuff that was there that was taking my interest instead. But finally saw it there for $10, so I thought, bugger it. This is the album in particular. So Bouquet of Steel. It's a Sheffield compilation from early 80s. Now there is mention in the booklet, there's a booklet with it, there is mention of Cabaret Voltaire, but there's actually no Cabaret Voltaire on this. The rest of the stuff is very obscure, Never heard of any of the bands. B Troop, oh no, sorry, I lie. Comstat Angels I'd heard of, but the rest of the bands, Flying Alfonso Brothers, I'm So Hollow, Vending Pack, Field Threat, Shy Tots, none of these bands I've actually heard of before. But yeah, it's really cool. It's a good compilation. Comes out on blue vinyl, and now I'm pretty sure this is an original, as far as I'm aware, and certainly nothing on Discogs that I can see to say that it's been a reissue. So yeah, I'm pretty sure it's original. So nice blue vinyl, nice booklet, really good condition. $10. Really happy to grab that. So while I was in that particular bin, I came across some other compilations that took my fancy. So first of all, and the one that's playing in the background is this one here, and this is Paths of Pain to Jewels of Glory, and again it was $30, the sticker's still on it, and I got it for 10, so it's probably been sitting there for a while. I don't know if I recall seeing this, but this is an Australian compilation as far as I can make out. Again, I've never heard of any of the bands on it. The Passengers, Shy Imposters, The Visitors, Flaming Hands, Machinations, maybe I might have heard of them. Kelpies. Oh, there's Lee Hoodoo Gurus. Well, there was an Australian band called Hoodoo Gurus that came out later on. I think this is very early 80s. There's Lobby Lloyd is mentioned on the first track, so that sort of was what made me think it was Australian. Anyway, so yeah, that's one of them. That's what's playing right now. And so we got a British one, an Australian one, and then we picked up this one here from the middle of nowhere. This is actually German. Presents Bad Record Production. So some of these, I don't think all these bands are actually German, because some of them sounded a bit English and they were selling in English, but there's actually 1490 DM, I assume that's a douche mark, so it's actually a German pressing. Somebody had sold a whole heap of German records. There were some punk compilations and some punk records. Some of them are still there, a lot of them have gone some time ago, and they've been sitting around for a while. Never heard of any of the bands. Post-punky sort of stuff again, so need to familiarise myself with that one. And the last one I picked up was this one, which is quite familiar to me, Pillows and Prayers. This one here, I don't think I'd ever heard it, but I'd seen it around for many years over the years, and was familiar with a couple of 3 songs off it. I don't think I ever had a copy of it originally. You know, Cherry Red Records compilation from 1980, 82, 83. This is quite cool. Good stuff on that. Now, yesterday, my partner brought home a box of records that had been dumped at her work, and we went through them and had a look and picked out. I wasn't, again, these are free records. They've been dumped by people. I wasn't expecting too much, and I was expecting pretty much the usual thrift store fodder, and some of it was, but I actually again, this is the second time this has happened, pulled out quite a lot more than I was expecting to. First one, Rod Stewart, what's it called? Every Picture Tells a Story. I think this is from 1971. Somewhere around there. It's got Maggie May on it, which is the only track I really know. Had a listen to this tonight, gave them a clean up yesterday. This is really quite good actually. This is a really good album. Quite like it actually. I mean, I love Maggie May. It's quite a cool song. So yeah, that was a good score. Plays alright, not too many scratches. I mean, they're not particularly great condition. Pulled this one out. To be honest, I'm not a great fan of Leonard Cohen. I find him very maudlin, melancholic, and quite depressing, to be honest. So I'd pull it out, have a listen. I did get to play a little bit of it tonight, but unfortunately I was a wee bit busy to really focus on it. So never mind, have a listen to it later. Herman's Hermits, this is a compilation from, must be 1968, I think, 69. Got a whole bunch of hits, some of which I was familiar with, some I haven't. It plays okay, it's a little bit crackly and staticky, but some pretty cool 60s pop on that one. So I have a listen to this one, some Nina Simone, Sweet and Swinging Simone. This is a compilation. This is a New Zealand release from 1969 on Marble Arch Records. I had to listen to this. This is fairly laid backy, yeah, not as bluesy as that other one I've heard. I found. I mean, I think she's got a great voice, but I'm not a big fan of the style of music that she's doing. The one that really caught my eye, of course, was this one, Van Morrison, Astral Weeks. Now, I do have this on CD. I mean, this is his biggest rated, critically his biggest rated album. You know, I mean, it's on all the big top album lists that I've ever read and seen. I do have it on CD. I really have struggled over the years to appreciate it. I suspect I could probably appreciate it a lot more nowadays than I could a few years ago, because I listen to a lot more music that is probably related to this, and the jazz side of it especially. Had to listen to side one, and the vinyl sounds stunning. I mean, it's got a little bit of surface noise, but it cleaned up nicely. But yeah, I think I did appreciate it a little bit more than I have in the past. It's not one I revisit, but I would like to get to know that a bit more. And then this one here, Donovan, HMS Donovan. Now, I didn't know anything about this record. It's just a gatefold. Now, I did a little bit of research on this last night, and it turns out that this is an original pressing from England in 1971. The Dawn Records. It's got the orange Dawn Records label. Apparently there were three pressings, and this is the first pressing. The other two pressings had different labels. So yeah, this is actually the very first pressing. It's in pretty good nick. The vinyl, the cover's okay. There's no major damage. It's a little bit grubby-ish. There's a bit of ring wear, but it's actually overall in pretty good nick, and the vinyl's in pretty good nick. So I had a quick listen to the first side of it. Ooh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to relate to this record a hell of a lot. It's basically a whole bunch of poetry put to music, so there's a lot of reading off it. So it got a good review on one site that I read, and on Discogs it's actually going for reasonable money. It's starting at around about $100 a copy. So in that aspect, for a free record, it's a pretty good score. And a few comments were made on Facebook about it. Yeah, I really need to listen to it. I'll keep it, absolutely, because of the rarity, the novelty value of it, and the rarity of it, and it's in good nick, but you're not sure about that one. And then finally, and this is pretty cool, this one here. This is as you can see, this is not Beethoven's 9 symphonies. How do you sell it? It's Deutsche Grammophon. So I mean, any classical people will know that the Deutsche Grammophon is one of the premier classical labels, certainly of the 50s and 60s and 70s, I guess, and even probably still so today. And also, anybody will know, classical people will know that Herbert von Karajan is one of the most famous conductors, and is specifically well known for his Beethoven symphonies and his Beethoven conducting Beethoven music. So this is actually a New Zealand issue box set, and overall the condition of the box, I mean, it's a little bit worn and faded. I mean, this is from 1960, possibly 61 or 63, I'm not sure, because I can't actually find this particular version on Discogs. But this lovely book that came with it, I actually opened it up last night, and from what I can gather, it had never been opened before. Just looking at the way the first page, I mean, I've opened it and had to flip through it now, but I get the impression that it had actually never been opened before. Also, it was interesting, I mean, the vinyl is all absolutely stunning condition. I mean, it's been in its package for so long and no one's taken it out for so long that the records were actually sticking to the inner plastic. So I've chucked all the old sleeves away. I mean, they weren't in too bad a condition, but I really didn't like them. So I've actually cleaned all the records and put them in my MoFi sleeves, and I've played a couple of records. There is a couple of minor scratches on ones that I've seen, and there's a few clicks on them, but essentially they're practically mint condition. So if they were ever played, well, I assume they were played, but probably played very little and not for a very long time. So so the packaging is, unfortunately, it's a little bit tattered along the side, along the base of it, but the vinyl is in absolutely stunning condition, and it's got all 9 of the symphonies in here. I think the recordings were around about 1961, so not long after it was released. So I'm quite impressed to have this, actually. I mean, and I love Symphony Number 9. That's pretty cool. So looking forward to playing all of these. So yeah, so I'll give them all a big clean through the machine. They all looked pretty stunning. Vinyl looked pretty stunning when I pulled them out of the packages. So yeah, for a box of free records, I actually did really, really well out of it. So I'm quite impressed with that lot. So yeah, I wasn't expecting to end up with so much new vinyl, well, new records in my collection, but I have. So worth making another video, and yeah, look forward to the next one. And yeah, I'll see you around. Thank you.